kingdom seekers and walk by faith believers. Diane McGee here, bringing week 80 of Power Tools on High to you. I'm thanking the good Lord. I'm home and everything is standing. I was previously evacuated from my home due to the mosquito fire, and I took the day yesterday to get caught up on a few things. Hence, Toolbox Tuesday is being posted today, and I appreciate your understanding. So this week, in a state of gratitude, I've been ruminating on Psalms 19:14 that expresses the desire of my heart well, and I thought I would share this with you. David muses, "Let the sayings of my mouth and the meditation of my heart become pleasurable before you, O Jah, my rock and my redeemer." The condition of David's heart is quite beautiful, isn't it? We can see his heartfelt desire to please God in all things through his life. When we have this heart condition, we can be assured that God blesses our efforts in it. Jesus also had this heart condition of pleasing God. Jesus, though, being the perfect Son of God, was able to do this with perfection and please his Father's heart all the time. Jesus himself tells us in John 8:29, "He who sent me is with me. The Father has not left me alone, for I always do those things that please him." Now, we may not be perfect as Jesus was. However, as followers of Jesus, we too can be striving to make God's heart rejoice and be pleasing him through the lives we live. God, in fact, prophetically requests this of each one of us, God's children. In Psalms 27:11, "Be wise, my son or daughter, and make my heart rejoice, that I may give a reply to him who is taunting me." Oh, we all know who taunts God, right? For from the days of Eden, Satan has been taunting God as regards the faithfulness and loyalty of the creation. That includes you and me. Our faithfulness and loyalty to the God of life and salvation has been put to test and question. Proverbs 27:11 gives us hope in the directive that we can be victorious in shutting Satan's mouth. It explains by making wise choices in life, by committing to live by God's standards and choosing his ways, by following our great exemplar Jesus, we can make God's heart rejoice and give him a reply to Satan, who says to God, "None of them love you. None of them will be faithful to you. If they go through hardship or can have the whole world and its resources, they won't choose you." If you recall, this taunting and universal issue was brought up with God's faithful servant Job, and it's still a machination and issue on earth today. Man's faithfulness to God, through the good and the bad, through the rest and the upset, through the peace and the wars, through the malediction and the blessings, through life and death. Every day that we live gives an answer to whose side we are on. Now, God does not want us to fall asleep in this matter. Every time we choose God's way, every step we take that follows in Jesus' footsteps, we choose God and make his heart rejoice. Imagine that. Every day we are presented with the great opportunity and honor to choose God, to follow our leader Jesus, and make God's heart rejoice. And what a reward. Not just the eventual saving of our souls, not only present day deliverances, but the honor to actually make God's heart rejoice now and forever. That alone gives us reason to wake up each new morning with excitement and gratitude in our hearts, to make God's heart rejoice. Wow. Jesus, like I mentioned, was exemplary in this. In Proverbs 8:30, Jesus speaks of his pre-human existence, saying, "I came to be the one who he, God, was specially fond of day by day." Yes, Jesus always did the things pleasing to his Father God. and God found great delight in his only begotten Son. God confirms this fact on a few occasions while Jesus walked among us as man. In Matthew 12:18, when Jesus had just come up out of the water after his baptism, a voice from the heavens that said, "This is my Son, the beloved, whom I have approved." And also during the transfiguration, where in Matthew 17:5 we read, a voice out of the cloud said, "This is my Son, the beloved, whom I have approved. Listen to him." Also, God spoke through his prophet Isaiah about Jesus, assuring us that the way that Jesus would walk would be the way, the truth, and the life. And that this one would make the ways of justice clear to us, so that we have this fine example of the way that we should go, the way of uprightness that makes God's heart rejoice. We have Jesus' example to follow in our course of life. Choosing the way makes us wise people. We can examine the life of Jesus and learn from him, the greatest teacher. In doing this, we draw close to both the Father and the Son. We can walk as Jesus did. We can make wise choices. We can be good, kind, compassionate, and loving people who treat all fairly and with respect. We can choose to do the things where we have our Heavenly Father's approval. And like Jesus, we too can make God's heart rejoice. Thank you so much for a few moments of your time to consider these more important things. May it result in the salvation of all sorts of people and an accurate knowledge of truth. Please join me again next week for the next power tool from on high, directed by Spirit and Truth. Until then, may the sayings of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts become pleasurable before God and make his heart rejoice. Signing off for now in spiritual fitness with principled love, agape, and big, one of my most favorite kinds of love, brotherly love, philia. Bye now.